Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault. Today's another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you the coolest custom creations I happen to find people building in LEGO bricks throughout this last week. Like always, there's way more than just 10 cool creations. Links to everybody I'm talking about and more are all in the description below, so if you have any extra time, I highly recommend you check out some of their Instagram or Flickr accounts. And if you have any extra time, you can also check out our web store, www.brickvault.toys. The latest set of instructions that have popped up for us are from the designer David Buckles, and they are the latest updated versions of his Republic Gunships. He's created two different color tone versions of the Clone Wars variant, an Episode 2 version of the gunship, and two different color variations of the Munilist 10. You'd be surprised how incredibly detailed and accurate he managed to get to these creations, and if you wanted to build any of them for yourself, remember, links are all in the description below. Let's check out some honorable mentions now, because of course there's more than just 10 cool custom creations for the week. Henry Pinto's Lego sandwich looks pretty darn appetizing. Mitsuru Nikaida has built the Lego Mecha Snail Cicada. Very interesting technique for getting those wing outlines to work well. This one is from Gary the Procrastinator, and the title is Combat of Koa 1810. It's a pretty excellent diorama. Definitely wouldn't want to get into a bottleneck fight on a bridge. Shannon Sproul has titled this Discussion, and this shot really does make you feel like you are inside a hospital hallway. This amazing larger diorama is from Daniel Ross Lego. The title is Imperial Communications Base. It does light up in the darkness, which is pretty amazing. Fabs has the Yamaha FY2, and it's great to see a bike that looks so cool built pretty much with just Bionicle or Technic plate pieces. Roanoke Handybuck has The Gateway, and it is an interesting forced perspective shot for sure. Funny that Promo Bricks just talked about the recoloration of the Fiat set, because it looks like Frantisek has already recolored the Creator VW Bug in red, and it looks super awesome. Moko titled this Inferno, and I highly recommend you check out the Flickr, because this figure can really pose into a lot of dynamic different poses. Okay, let's move on to top 10 now. From Brother Steven, this is Ragnarok Begins. It's actually been on display at a few different conventions, and it is quite a behemoth to behold. The trans blue base for the ocean does have a ton of LEDs that are lit up. There's also lights that go into the eyes and mouth of this giant sea creature. And yes, the water vapor shooting out of the mouth is not just some digital effect, but there is in fact a mechanical element that allows this to happen, which is triply, quadruply impressive. It's got a pretty flowy shape, and it's just such a cool model with the light up features and the vapor shooting out of the mouth. From Kodianer Bricks, this is part 62, and the title is Ben, Leia, hear me, Leia. So of course this is a scene from the very end of Empire Strikes Back. You can see Luke is beat up, he doesn't have a hand, and there's this wonderful forced perspective shot of him hanging off the bottom of Cloud City. You can see the clouds beneath him, the sunset in the background. The colors really pop here, which is something that I think contrasts really well with the blue at the base, and then the red and orange, or orange and yellow I should say, in the back. And then let's jump straight into another Star Wars build, why not? From the designer Ghalad, this is Tiekranoplan Heavy Assault. It is a specific type of TIE fighter developed for attacking targets underwater. So if the Mon Cala shipyards were ever getting attacked by the Empire, perhaps a ship like this might have been doing the job, dropping depth charges. It's got some of the classic TIE aesthetics like the cockpit and some of the wing design, while the rest of this looks pretty functional and pretty strange, like it was just sort of soldered together by some back shop in Sinar Fleet Systems. And ultimately it does look like a ship that could certainly serve its purpose in terms of dropping massive payloads. It's a creative and interesting design that extends a bit of the Star Wars universe. And then I just could not ignore this particular model from the designer Carter. This is NATO Cerberus Armsuit, and I love the fact that so much of this model, almost all of it, and certainly all the major design elements, have been built from older Lego pieces. All the gray and dark gray, or most of it, is all the old version, which means you could have built something that looks just like this, with all of its interesting angles and excellent proportions. This could have been built maybe 10 or 15 years ago in Lego bricks. Now here's a really interesting and strange one for sure. This is from the designer rosesmustdraw, and the title is The Sun. When you look closer at this sun god style creature or entity, there is a rather gory, or at least very organic internal organ element to this creature, and it very much reminds me of that movie Midsummer, if you haven't seen it yet. The build for the sun head is actually pretty excellent. I like the simple, placid face expression that we have in the front. The design for the toes and fingers looks great, and yes, also the organic internal organs look pretty good in terms of the detailing. Bit of a disturbing creation for sure, but I love the way this was designed. And now we're moving on to a creation from Cube Brick. The title is Gold Mine Hideout. This somewhat small diorama outlines a very detailed and interesting showdown scene that we have between some of the cavalry, I think, and this hideout for bandits, which I do believe was at some point a legitimate gold mine. Perhaps they took it over. One of the horses is spooked and rearing up. Guns are drawn. Perhaps dynamite is about to enter into the equation soon. I actually love that build for the vulture. That's honestly my favorite bit right at the top there. The tree's made of stud guns, and it's great that he got the cactus guy suit as actual cactuses in different parts of this diorama. Wonderful, interesting little elements. This is number 4 in the breakdown from Marco de Bon. This is titled Lego Speedster Blue Mosquito. I enjoy the spacing that's found between the headlight pieces when he adds the tiles to them in the front. There's some subtle stud reversal throughout the wings. That really old grill piece on either side of the model works excellent as intakes. I don't know how he managed to get that interesting tile connection on the inside of the little window panel pieces in the back, but that's a really cool effect. And it's just a model that is pretty much full of unconventional or just interesting complex techniques everywhere. It's just one giant interesting connection. Now here is probably the most fun creation, at least for me, throughout the week. From the designer Djokson, number 3 is Hear No Evil. This is built for the Bio Cup finals. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I have to say, when I first saw this very much reminded me of the music video Clint Eastwood from the Gorillaz. The upside down hot dog bun piece for the monkey's face is probably one of the best uses of any piece I've seen all week. I'm assuming those jeans came from some like weird old Lego line where they had dolls. The big headphones are fun and cartoony, and it really adds to the much larger and much more evil face that we have that's hanging over our main character or protagonist, which also seems to have somewhat of a baboon face with that longer snout and the big fangs. Certainly a monkey theme going on here in general. Super awesome techniques. Love the atmosphere that's created here. And then number 2 from Corry Lankford. This is the Rebel Alliance Starcraft testing facility. It's an absolutely massive creation. Impressive in both its scale, its technique, and the fact that it's almost entirely lit up. Everywhere there's LED lights. This is a creative liberty to fit in somewhere within the Star Wars universe, specifically where the Rebels are testing out new types of ships that they're developing in order to combat the Empire. These hangars are absolutely massive when you get closer and you check out some of the details on the inside, and it gives you somewhat an idea of the scale of this huge endeavor. Really cool creation. Love the effort. And let's finish off with just a fun, detailed, colorful diorama from Insomnia Builds. This is Big Trouble in Little Tokyo. This model, I think, just strikes that perfect balance between gritty and still fun and cartoony. It's got every color of the rainbow and more. The architecture techniques for the old style shops contrast really well with almost the steampunk style and gritty buildings on the other side of the stairs. The characters are all fun and strange and weird. There's drama. We've got the cops that are busting punks. That dude is dropping in the middle of dropping boxes down the stairs, which are all studded in place with them like actually falling in midair, including another guy falling down the stairs. The whole thing is lit up on top of that, and there's just so many wonderful elements to appreciate both in the light and in the dark. I can't help but think with some modifications, a scene like this could be added to integrate into the modular format so it could sit right next to some of the Ninjago city creations. But anyways, that's it for my personal favorite top 10 MOCs of the week episode. Remember, if you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know which ones of these creations were your favorites. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.